All right, what's up guys? Welcome to Matt's Garage. Today we're building shoe racks. So we can go from this to this. So if you're like most people, you have a large pile of shoes that has really gotten out of hand, and that's my situation. I have probably a dozen pair of shoes just sitting in a pile in my room. Really have never figured out the right solution to shoe storage. So I saw a video of somebody who built a pretty simple shoe rack, and I decided to start with that design and then modify it. And you see I've already started it here. This is just a pine 1x3 board. This is actually some leftover I had from doing a project here in Matt's Garage, specifically for putting the jambs in for the windows. And these started off as 1x8 common boards that I ripped down. So these are, approximate 1x3s here. And the bottom piece is 36 inches long. The side pieces are 12 inches long. I've just done a simple butt joint with glue and finish nails. I'm using my DeWalt finish nail. I believe those are 2-inch 18 gauge nails. I'm going to do the same thing over here, and then you'll see I'm also going to use some thinner stock that also came from the same project. This again is really just leftover from the window jamb project to build a rail in front that will hold the front of the shoes, and then I'll actually put a rail in the back that will serve two purposes. One, it will be the mounting rail that I will use to drill and countersink 2 holes, 16 on center, that will match up with studs in the closet that I'm, pardon me, that I'm going to mount this in, and you'll see once we get it up in there just how very cool this design is. So I'm going to go a little further on this as I get to the part where I'm installing the rails. We'll come back and we'll take a look at how I do that. So again, for adhesion, I'm just going to use my my glue bot. Really good tool. I've just got some Tight Bond 3 in here, I think. Whatever. No, it's a Gorilla Glue. You can see the Gorilla Glue over there. I find Gorilla Glue works just fine. I know a lot of people like the Tight Bond 3. I like it as well. I just happen to have this Gorilla Glue around. I use it for one of my other hobbies, build and fly model rockets, and for the wooden ones, I find it to be very handy. So let's see if we can prop the camera up over here so you can see what I'm doing. Now, this step is really optional in a lot of ways, but I really like things to be as square as possible, even on simple projects. So I'm using these clamping squares. I think I got these off of Amazon for relatively cheap money, as they say, and just using, pardon me, spring clamps to get them in place. I've already glued it up, and so what I do is I just get it approximate, and then the spring clamps and the clamping square give you a little bit of wiggle room. I'll just tidy it up to the point where I think it's good enough. And as most of you do on projects like this, you're really using your fingers in a lot of ways to answer the question, are these pieces of wood flush? The answer right now appears to be yes. I feel like that's pretty good. The clamping square has stayed in place. Get that main bead of excess glue out of the way, and then we'll go back in and get other out of the way. Just 3 brad nails, pardon me. I have to say I love this DeWalt brad nailer. Use it on a lot of projects. And that'll be good enough. Now I'll just pop the spring clamps and peel off. Wipe up any other excess glue. Don't forget about those bottom joints. A lot of times when you're working on something like this, you forget that there's a bottom joint where you might get a little squeeze out. Now, to be fair, this project is going to sit in a closet. Nobody's going to look at it. But I still like to do a certain amount of precision work. That just helps me with other projects where that level of precision is much more important. Okay, now let's get on to the rails. Now, for the rails, there's two rails in this design. One rail is in the front, and you can see here that I've marked a mark 3 inches up from the top of the bottom plate here, and the same on the other side. And this top rail is going to be cut to fit on the inside, and then it is going, this bottom rail rather, is going to be cut to fit on the inside. And then again, it's just going to be glued and tacked in with a couple of 18 gauge brad nails. And if you imagine a shoe coming in from the top, that's going to catch the shoe right at the front of the arch. Now I've already built one of these shelves, and you saw it in the beginning of the video. The shoes fit in nicely. As for the back rail, it serves two purposes. One is, first of all, and I don't show the marks yet, but the top of this rail will actually be 3 inches from the top of the side supports. And like I said, it serves two purposes. One purpose is to act as, sort of a heel catch or back of shoe catch. As I was designing this, and I use the word lightly because there's really not a lot of design involved, I did bring in a couple of my pairs of shoes. I brought in, a couple of pairs of dress shoes, and then one of my bigger work boots. The thing about those is that, the work boots are certainly bigger overall, and the position of the beginning of the heel with respect to the sole is a little different. And so I positioned it so that, a larger shoe like a boot, the back of the heel would catch just on top of this. And for a smaller, thinner shoe, well, the heel wouldn't quite catch, but still it would sort of rest right against this. So this is sort of a heel rest, heel catch, as well as I will, once it's all assembled, put two 16-inch on center holds, basically 8 inches off, one each off of the center of the back rail itself, countersunk from the front, and those will be used to drive 3-inch screws through the back rail and into the studs that I've already marked in the closet where this is going. So let's get the rails installed, and then we'll go see how we put this whole thing together. So I've got the bottom front rail marked. One thing about how I marked it, and I don't have the ability yet, I don't have a camera stand where I can sort of do work and then do a camera, is I didn't use a tape measure. All I did was hold one end of the rail in place up against the inside edge of the left side vertical support, and then marked the other side, also holding it in place 3 inches above the bottom. Marked it where I think it should be. I'm going to cut it a little proud, a little bit long, and then sneak up on the right measurement. As I say, I'll do a test fit. I know it'll be a little long, but then I'll be able to gauge, eyeball about how long it needs to be, and I'll do the final cut. One thing, you're looking at my sort of old and dirty and trusty chop saw. I did 3D print an adapter for my shop vac. I really didn't want to, at this point in the evolution of the garage, to plummet directly into the dust right. I do have the dust right similarly 3D adapted into my table saw. I cannot say it is trusty at all because it is, spinny danger blade thing. Very bad table saw, can't wait to get a new one. But with that all plumbed in, essentially, permanently, I did dig up these old remote control switches that I had used in the old garage just to turn on some shop lights. And I find it's really handy. I can just press the button for number 1 here. Shop vac will go on. I can make my cut, and then we can go test fit it. Okay, so the front rail is installed right up to our marks, 3 inches from the top. Looks pretty good, very sturdy. Again, this is not really holding that much weight. All the weight of the shoes is really going to be held by the back rail. So this is mostly to just keep the shoes in place from sort of falling out through the bottom of the rack. All right, let's get to marking on the back rail and get it cut and installed. So the back rail is cut. I've got my 2 marks where the top of the rail is going to land 3 inches below the top of the support. So now we can get this glued up and tacked in place. So construction is complete. As you can see, really simple design. 3 pieces of wood for the base and then 2 cross members, both to help tie it together a little bit and to serve the function, as I mentioned, to hold the shoes or boots in place. So the only thing we have left to do now is to mark out the center of this back rail and then measure off from that center point 8 inches. I know from upstairs in the closet where I'm going to mount these that I'm very fortunate in this old house. I actually found a pair of studs right in the right place that are exactly 16 inches on center, which never happens, as you know, in an old house. As far as I can tell, my house was built by an army of very drunk people, or, not so drunk people who were just told, go fast, don't go good. It's solid, but it has a severe lack of consistency as far as, sort of stud width and things of that nature. So I am going to get that measuring done. Before I do that, I just want to show you a little bit what I was talking about as far as the shoes. So here's one of my pairs of work boots. Not wearing them today. I'm just kind of knocking around the garage and not deliberately dropping anything very large on my foot. So this kind of goes in here. This goes in here. And these boots, by the way, are on the upper end of what this rack is designed to hold. But as you can see, there's the heels in the back. So they just about come up to the back edge of the back rail. You can see that the shoes are in fact touching at the bottom and nicely supported across the arch here. So again, simple design that just relies on the fact that you need a little bit in the front and a little bit in the back. And this is just going to pop up on the wall. And I'll tell you, when you see, you saw it in the intro, but once we mount this second one, I will have reduced my pile of a dozen shoes down to just 2 or 3 pairs of slippers, things that maybe I could sort of tuck underneath the bed without annoying my wife too much, and really will have cleaned up the whole shoe situation. So let's go mark those holds, drill and countersink them, and get this thing installed. And here's the final result. You can see each rack has 4 pairs of shoes on it of various sizes. They fit in nicely. They come out and in easily. The back rail is, as I mentioned, screwed into the wall with just 3-inch screws right into the studs. So you could mount these, with picture hangers if you wanted to. A couple of things I might change. For example, these are sharp edges, so I might just come back with my router either in the closet or just take them down temporarily, bring them back out to the shop, and smooth these edges over. That'll give it a nicer look, and plus keep these edges from hurting anybody. Could paint them at this point. Again, they're just in a closet, so I'm not doing anything like that. But very happy with these. Small amount of wood. It took maybe an hour to build each of them, if that. I had batched out all of the pieces last night. Certainly the bottoms and the two sides to exact size, and then it's very quick to, as I mentioned, sort of measure up and cut the front rail and the back rail to size. So really good project. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit notify. Now that the garage is back up and running, it's time for me in the garage to pay the rent, so to speak, and do some more projects to help improve things around the house. So long. And here's a little bonus. I built 4 total racks. They look great. Hit like, subscribe, and notify. See you soon.